Hello, I'm Jerry Fort. I'm going to read a story from this book here called The Scary States of America. 50, I'm trying to remember. I can't see it. I've read this so many times, I should remember it by now. 50 weird and terrifying stories. Each one one from each state. That's where I'm getting messed up, based on true events. So there you go. All right, let's see if I can find a random state here I haven't read yet. I just read that one. That's weird. I went to it again. Florida. I haven't read Florida yet. Skunk ape encounter. A skunk ape. Could you imagine an ape spraying you like a skunk would? That'd be extra stinky, wouldn't it? Let's see what it says here. 15-year-old Cheryl Groves never thought she'd have to deal with anything scarier than a killer wave threatening to wipe her out on her surfboard. Then she came face to face with a genuine Florida skunk ape near her town of Coral Gables. This legendary creature stood 8 feet tall and looked like a humanoid primate. With shaggy brown fur, a bright blue face, and piercing yellow eyes punctuated by jet black pupils. Just one whiff of its stench could knock you over. Here's the story Cheryl emailed me. Okay, first off, why couldn't my parents take me on a normal vacation? Like on a tour of the best surfing spots in Hawaii or something? No, we had to stay in Florida. And not only that, we weren't even going to be near the ocean. I know I live near the ocean, but still, a camping trip to the Ocala National Forest, boring. Where are you headed? Mr. Jeffries, our nosy next-door neighbor, asked as I started carrying stuff out to the van. Camping in the Ocala, I don't know how you pronounce that, National Forest. Watch out for the skunk ape, Mr. Jeffries said, picking his teeth with a toothpick and spitting out of the side of his mouth. Lovely. The what? I asked. Never heard of the skunk ape. You never heard of the skunk ape? He said, shifting his toothpick to the other side. It's an old Florida legend. Big hairy monster with a blue face. Smells like it hasn't washed in years. Stink will knock you right over it. Oh, gosh. Yeah, well, if I see one, I'll be sure to send your regards, I said as I went back to loading the van. What a loon. My parents and I got into the van and we took off for the forest. Whoopee! We got to the campsite in the late afternoon and set up our tents. At least I had my own tent, separate from my parents'. We cooked some dinner, like beans or something gross like that, over an open campfire as the sun went down. The s'mores were good. Though. After my fourth s'more, I said good night and slipped into my tent. But how was I going to fall asleep? I mean, I was practically outside, exposed to the elements. How totally uncivilized can you get? Soon I heard my parents climb into their tent, and a short while later the campsite was silent, except for the crickets. They were so loud. Like, how is anyone supposed to sleep with that racket? Then, wouldn't you know it, I had to pee. As quietly as I could, I crawled out from my tent, gripping my flashlight tightly, switching on the light. I followed its beam along one of the marked hiking trails that led away from the campsite. I wanted to get far enough away not to disturb my folks. I hate when anyone can hear me pee. The trail grew narrower and the woods got darker. I figured I'd gone far enough. I finished my business and turned around to return to the campsite. My flashlight beam slid across the tree trunks, then lit up what appeared to be a hairy foot poking out from behind the thick trunk of a tree. Startled, I shrieked and dropped my flashlight, which went dark when it hit the ground. Oh, God, what was that? Then the smell hit me. Actually, it assaulted my senses like a sledgehammer. Imagine a mix of rotten cabbage, decaying flesh, and a dead skunk. Only worse. The stench was unreal. It made my eyes water, and I swear I thought I was going to puke s'mores all over the forest floor. Then I got dizzy from what felt like a lack of oxygen. Dropping to my knees, I was barely able to breathe. I heard a shuffling sound and could just make out something walking toward me, something very tall. The thing emitted a low growl as it got closer. I was completely overcome by terror, but paralyzed by the horrible smell. The thing was huge and could have reached out with one arm to grab me if I tried to run away. I was trapped, moments away from a certain horrible death. Sweat crept down my face as the creature shuffled closer. Help! I tried to scream, like anyone would even be able to hear me. My parents were too far away, and I was surrounded by thick woods. The cry came out as choked whimper. Help! I covered my head with one arm, trying to protect myself, but knowing I was seconds away from blacking out. Then I'd be completely at this thing's mercy. This is it. I really am gonna die. Then my hand brushed against something hard and metallic on the ground. The flashlight. I fumbled in the darkness for the switch. Come on, come on. Glancing up, I saw the outline of an enormous, hairy creature staring down at me. Its growling grew louder. Got it. Click. My flashlight beam revealed a sight more hideous than I could ever have imagined. The ape-like beast was more than 7 feet tall, and its body was covered with thick, shaggy fur. Its face was remarkably human, except for the blue tint of its skin, and its enormous hands ended in sharp claws. Gleaming nostrils expelled jets of steam with every foul breath. Ropes of saliva dangled from its jagged yellow teeth. Another wave of noxious odor slammed into my nostrils, and my eyes stung. Through blurry tears, I saw the shaggy thing moving closer. Don't just sit here and die. Get up, do something. I stood up quickly, and the flashlight beam struck the creature's face, illuminating its wrinkled blue skin. As my beam caught the beast's sickly yellow eyes, the monster let out a shriek. The light, I thought, it doesn't like the light. I aimed the flashlight directly into its eyes. The creature let out an unearthly howl, and then turned and bolted back into the woods. I raced back to the campsite, followed by a cloud of the horrible stench. I didn't sleep that night. I mean, duh. I stayed up listening for the monster's approach until dawn. I got out of my tent and waited for my folks to get up, vowing at that moment never to go camping again. I didn't know if they'd believe my story, but at least my stench would convince them I wasn't very good company on a camping trip. Oh man. Florida skunk ape, man. Watch out for those things. Wow. Okay, let me mark that off. That's funny. Okay, if you're into the paranormal, you like these kind of books, this kind of read, paranormal type stuff, paraphernalia, you collect this stuff, get you a copy of this, Scary States of America, 50 Weird and Terrifying Stories, one from each state, based on true events, by Michael Teitelbaum. He'll appreciate you buying one of his books. All right, thanks for watching, appreciate it, see you on the next one.